illustration that I'm going to be working on for a long time. Like, not this, but like one of those images I showed you earlier from my coloring book. You know, those took me hours and hours. This is going to be a maybe hour at best illustration right here. But yeah, it'd be nice to get the little YouTube channel going and make a little money off of that. That'd be a dream come true, and then make some money off my coloring books, or I'm sorry, off the graphic novel. That'd be a dream come true as well. And then I could honestly say, well, hey, I'm using my degree, right? I'm working with art every day, being my own boss. And you know, it'd be cool to make some YouTube money and do that, because that's, you know, again, be my own boss, and it would just be nice to pay off my student loans, honestly. And just you know, yeah, and do something with my degree and the talent that God gave me. You know, I feel like what's the point of having this if I can't do something with it and share it with the world? So, and I've always been opinionated, and I've always wanted to, you know, it's always, you know, I look at the podcasters and stuff, and I'm like, man, what a cool career to have, to just sit around rambling all day about whatever, you know, whatever's on your mind, whatever your opinion is. If people give enough of a damn to hear it, you know, that's even crazier part. You know, like, I appreciate anybody that's here right now watching me do this and listening to me. You know, that's awesome. And if there's any of you out there doing it, I appreciate that. Thank you. You know, it'd be cool to get to a point where, you know, I can do this, but like on a live stream or something. You know, in my dream, it'd be like doing this on a live stream for an hour or two. And if people donated money or whatever, super chats, however it works, take all the people that donated and put them on a wheel. You know, one of those electronic wheels you can do for the calculating. My kid showed me how to do this. And this is how we figure out where we're eating sometimes for dinner. But you put them on the wheel and then do a random pick, you know, and whatever it lands on is the person that would get the illustration. You know, that's an idea for the future. I think that'd be cool. You know, have a live chat, do that once or twice a week, along with the shorts I do every day. I release a short every day. And, you know, maybe start doing, you know, 1 or 2 of these a week, these longer form videos. That'd be cool. I'm just spitballing here. We'll figure it out. But that would be cool. Be able to, you know, take whoever donated and send them the illustration they watched being created, and I think that'd be cool. That's an idea for the future. An idea for the future. Okay, what are we gonna do here? This guy over there. Yep. And my forte, what I really like doing, and what my graphic novel, at least this first one I'm making, is gonna be pen and ink like this with a watercolor and alcohol marker background. So that would make it, yeah, it would be cool. So pen and ink like this, and then, you know, watercolor wash and alcohol markers. The alcohol markers are really cool. I like those a lot. Yeah, very cool. That's another thing that a lot of artists don't like is, or I'm not gonna say don't like, but don't work with as much, is watercolor. Because watercolor is another thing that's unpredictable. You just gotta kind of go with it. A lot of artists don't like that. They like being in control of the piece, and I can get behind that. But at the same time, you get results from watercolor that you just can't get from other things. And same with those alcohol markers. The reason I like those a lot is because they're pretty close to a watercolor. Pretty close. Yep, crazy stuff. You know, I'm actually watching that John Hicks right now. I was watching Star Trek before I turned it off once I started talking about John Hicks. Because I was like, why didn't I have him on? You know, it's great for background. He's just cruising around LA. So, and he is right now. And man, I'll tell you, it sure seems like it's messy and unkempt out there. You know, and if you're from out in LA, I'm not dogging it in any way. I'm from Riverside. But I don't remember it being this like messy and trashed and tents and shit everywhere and RVs and broken down. You know, it's just crazy looking. And yeah, I wasn't a little tiny kid when I left. I was like 15 years old, so I mean I remember. But it just seems like it's a lot different than it was. You know, when this guy's cruising around, this guy goes everywhere. He doesn't just like go to the. I know a lot of people like channels to go to like the crappy part of town because they want to see all the homeless people and gangs and shit. And this guy just cruises around all over the place. That's his MO, is that he doesn't have an MO. He just goes. But seems like everywhere he goes out there is just trashed. And that's sad. You know, LA was a cool town. San Francisco was a cool town. That looks like a shithole too these days. At least the parts I see. And that's from several different people that go out there and just walk around. That's all they're doing. You know, they're just walking around. That one guy walked around the entire town. It was like a 9-hour video or something crazy. And I put it on as background for like the whole day. And pretty much everywhere he went in that town, it looked like shit. I remember going up there when I was a kid and visiting. I had an uncle in Sacramento. And I remember going up there and visiting, and we'd go to San Francisco for the day. It's like, oh, we're going to San Francisco. And we'd go there. It was so awesome. I remember thinking, man, this would be the coolest city to live in when I was a kid. I mean, don't get me wrong. They could clean it up. You know, there's always a second chance, I guess, but it's just sad. A lot of history in that town. That's where Starfleet headquarters is, man. That's a Star Trek joke. Yep. Lots of stuff has changed since I moved out of there in the mid-90s. So, I mean, obviously stuff has changed. And it's like, I wonder what people think. I wonder, you know, pretty much everybody has social media these days. You know, and they have different ones for different things. You know, it's like I have Facebook so that I can, like, gossip about town stuff, and, you know, basically that's about it. And Messenger to talk to a few people, and, you know, go on the Facebook Marketplace, that kind of thing. But other than that, it just seems like a bunch of boomers on there talking shit all day. So I don't go on there too often. Instagram and TikTok just had a lot of hate in them, seem like. So I don't really go on those too much. I do have them, but I don't go on them that much. You know, when I started posting seriously on YouTube, I was like, well, I should post to Instagram and Rumble too. Instagram, it's like, just doesn't get any, you know, I get like 100, there's like magic numbers. I get like 86 or 143, and then it just stopped. So I said, screw it. Plus, Instagram and Facebook, their algorithms steal your art to train their AI. So, nope. I don't put anything on there. YouTube's really the only one I use. You know, I watch Premium, and obviously I have my channel on here that I use, or that I put stuff on. Yeah, and that's about it. You know, I have pretty much have all the social medias, just because you never know when you might want to look something up. You know, except for Twitter. I don't have Twitter. X, whatever the hell it's called. I got Reddit so that I can listen to the crazies once in a while. You know, I have Instagram and Messenger and Facebook for all those purposes I said earlier. But YouTube's really the only one I use. I did recently get Kick and Twitch, just because Kick, I wanted to start watching Kino Casino live. And then I was like, well, maybe sooner or later, if I ever started doing live stuff on YouTube, you know, YouTube Live, maybe if I got the hang of that, I would do a session over there too, you know. Ideas, just ideas. A lot of stuff to juggle. It'd be cool though. And you know, right now I'm just hanging on with hope. Hope's the only thing keeping me going when it comes to the art stuff. All it'll take is, you know, one win to kick me into total drive, you know. Because right now I got to worry about everything else in life, you know. I got my kid. I got to make sure he gets to school and does good over there and does all this stuff and everything involved with the kid, with doctors and dentists and him visiting people and getting to bed on time, eating the right stuff and brushing his teeth and putting on clean clothes and straightening up the house and trying to raise him right, all that shit. All the domestic responsibilities of a house, you know, taking care of a house and keeping it clean and keeping a car running and keeping it fixed and legal and gassed up and going to work and making sure the bills are paid and food in the fridge. And it's a lot of shit to do. And, you know, kudos to any single parent out there. You know, I hear about single moms all day long, but I never hear about single dads. And there's a lot of us. There's a lot of us. You know, I don't need a trophy, but a little recognition from the world would be nice once in a while that dads do it too, and more than you think these days too, actually. So, that being said, you know, doing this stuff is, you know, it's time consuming. But at the same time, it's like, well, what else am I doing right now? You know, I should be doing something that there's a possibility of making some money with or something, you know, in the future. And it's like, you know, it'd be nice to be my own boss and all that. This is the only way it's going to happen. So that part's good. But yeah, it's hard. It's hard trying to do all this stuff and juggle everything. And that's okay, though. It needs to be hard, otherwise everybody'd do it, right? But that's my hope. But yeah, all it's going to take is getting monetized or selling a book or anything like that for me to just turn into a beast and be doing this constantly. But in the meantime, I just gotta hold on, gotta have faith, gotta have hope. Those are two things I believe in, is faith and hope. And just in anything in life. And it can help out a lot. So, we'll see what happens. I hope something happens. That would be great. It would be great to show my son, hey, look, you know, I can take better care of you, you know, and just it'd be nice. It'd be nice to prove it to myself, like, hey, see, you did it. Instead of looking at college as a mistake, you can say, well, you paid it off. You went and you paid it off. And I did learn stuff there. Things that I probably, you know, at that time wouldn't have known. People always say today, oh, just look it up on YouTube. And it's like, well, they didn't have YouTube back then. You know, I started college in 2001. They didn't have all that crap back then. So, that would be nice. Would be nice. So, the illustrations coming along here. The little, these little fellas got their spots and stripes and stuff. And then we'll start working on this guy here in the background. And then once the stuff in the foreground is totally, you know, detailed and whatnot, we'll do some really light background stuff. That's the stuff I like to do with the watercolor that I was telling you about earlier. So, what kind of stuff do these guys have? They got this, right? Yeah. You know, I was watching something, I think it was in Canada. They passed a law or something where they can have cloned meat at the store. And they used to have to, like, they'd have to, you know, tell you that. This meat is cloned, blah, blah, blah. And they don't have to do that anymore. And everybody's kind of raising a stink. And I don't blame them. Because that's kind of, you know, back in the whole science fiction thing back in the day was, you know, you couldn't keep society going with clones because it's like a Xerox copy. Like if I take this picture and copy it, the first one will be almost as good. And then if I take that copy and copy it, that one will be almost, and all the way down to 100 copies from now, it's just going to be some blotches on a thing. And it's no different with cloning of biological stuff, of, you know, creatures, people, animals for eating. Because I think it has to do with the global warming thing. It's like, or climate change or whatever they call it these days. Oh, well, animals take a lot of room. You know, you gotta feed them, and a lot of carbon, a lot of this and a lot of that. And if we just, you know, make them in a lab, it'll be better for the environment. And that may be true. It may not be true. I don't know. I'm not a cloning scientist. But, I don't know. All this stuff seems... It's all moving too fast for me. All moving too fast. I don't want to eat cloned meat. I should be able to eat regular meat, because here's the thing. I haven't been on an airplane in 25 years. They're always talking about, oh, you can only take, in the future, you're only going to take, you know, 1 trip a year, maybe, and, you eat cricket powder and all this crazy shit, you know, and who knows, maybe that's true, but, if I don't fly, I should be allowed to skip the cricket powder and have some real beef. I want real beef, and I will exchange the my airline miles that I don't do anything with for that. And somebody else can have the cricket powder. Somebody else can have the cricket powder. Yep, those Kino Casino guys, they're fucking hilarious. They are funny people. I like them. They say some funny stuff. Goofy stuff. Yep. The whole lolcow thing and that whole universe, the whole Chris Chan and just all those people that are some interesting people, to say the least. And but you know what? It's like some of these people have made tons of money. That Larson guy and like all these lolcow people. Really, who makes the money is the inevitable manager that finds them and convinces them to sign over the rights while they do all the uploading on YouTube and all the, you know, all that kind of stuff. And they end up keeping all the money usually and running for the hills. But there's some crazy people out there, like figuratively and literally. I was just watching something recently on that Kino Casino, and here's the crazy thing. There's this guy, Billy Mitchell, the King of Kong, you know? He's like a Nintendo enthusiast or something, and he holds some world records, and some people disputed that, and anyway, he won in court against this other guy for defamation of character.